Hello. Well, today I'm joined by Naveen Kumar, VP of Supply Chain at the Wheel Group. Um, TWG is a specialty distribution business. It manages a complex multi-location inventory environment. Um, Before we get into the solutions, Naveen, why don't you help people understand what you're actually dealing with and operationally in the TWG environment, the scale, the SKU complexity, and why inventory management has been such a hard problem for a business like yours.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Ken. The Wheel Group is we have about 15 locations across US and Canada. We also are in the automotive aftermarket, but at the same time in the wheel industry. So it's a little bit of automotive aftermarket and also in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
All our procurement is done overseas. So all our manufacturing, everything is done overseas. We have to buy the right products, ship it to the right location at the right time to be available to our customers in the right locations. So the complexity of buying the right products, sorry, the complexity of forecasting the right products for the right fashion industry and being able to deliver to the right location at the right time for our seasons is extremely important. It's extremely critical in running our business. Before TADA, this operation was run on Excel and a lot of tribal knowledge. And the goal of TADA was to move that knowledge into a structure that we can analyze, that we can measure, and we can improve on. So that is where TADA came in and helped us.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. So I want to go back into more what happened before TADA came in, but when you look at the challenge, is it more around demand variability or supply unpredictability or both?
I would say both. Not and the third one is also inventory availability in the right location. So demand variability is understanding our seasonalities, understanding our fashion, understanding where the demand is. We could launch the best product in the world, but the Southeast doesn't like it, but the Northeast loves it.
Yeah.
Or the California customer loves it, but the customer in New York doesn't like it at all. So understanding that complexities is important. So that's demand variability. Supply chain variability is understanding which factories make the right product or make it better than another factory. So understanding which factories can actually perform at the lead time that we need to. Every factory that we go to will always say, "Yep, I can do it. I can do it," but it takes them 180 days when the good factories take 60 days. And the key there is understanding the manufacturing capabilities of each factory. And then also the inventory availabilities, putting that inventory in the right location so that we are not shipping cross country for a product that is popular in California, but we have the inventory also located in Atlanta.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So before you brought in TADA, what were the big operational pain points? Not necessarily the gaps, but the day-to-day friction your team was living with.
Yeah, the day-to-day friction was not understanding what our purchase plan was. First and foremost is not being able to plan out our inventory for the year, not understanding what our demand is and where the variability of demand, and just planning at a high level for boards and for financial accuracy of where we're going to end up with our inventory.
Yeah.
So that was already a monumental task of running a company. Yeah, you should have some kind of predictability of what financial needs are month over month, and we couldn't predict that.
100%. And what broke down when the demand shifted quickly?
Well, what broke down was if the demand shifted quickly, what broke down was not having the right inventory, frustration,
Yeah.
um, loss of morale with sales staff, not being able to service the customer correctly, customer frustration.
Yeah.
So all of this is just leads to an unprofessional organization that doesn't seem to have a footing of knowing where the right inventory should be.
One thing we've noticed across supply chain teams is that companies a lot of times can technically see that the inventory is off, with reports or dashboards. Somebody flags an exception, but seeing the problem and then being able to act are two different things. Did that gap exist for your team, and what did it actually look like?
We definitely saw the gaps and we knew that we couldn't react because it was a kind of a game of whack-a-mole. You solve one problem, another problem pops up. You solve another problem, another problem pops up, and you don't know if the first two problems you solve were causing the dysfunction of the third problem. So that's where not having a streamlined process, a system from end-to-end system does that to you because you're spending you're burning your calories, wasting, solving problems, but you're not really sure if are you really doing, is the net effect, are you really worse, better off than what you were a month ago?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So at some point, you made a decision to bring in an external platform rather than build internally or fix the process with better spreadsheets. What was the thinking and what gave you confidence that it would work in your environment and your workflow?
Yeah, so the first most important thing is getting a software or a system that was end to end. And it was just not siloed in forecasting, not just siloed in demand planning or purchasing, but it had to be the end to end supply chain. And once you have the different softwares talking to each other or the same data being shared across multiple platforms, that's where you knew that you could connect them and you created the system of you're not playing whack-a-mole anymore. If you're solving one problem, you understand how that actions trigger the flow of corrective actions across the network.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you look at other options?
Yes, we did. We looked at other options, but no other options provided us the connectivity between multiple platforms that TADA did.
Awesome. Well, fast forward to today. How does your team actually use TADA in day-to-day operations? Not just the capabilities, but what does it look like when someone sits down in the morning and runs the business with it?
Yeah, so we have different teams. We have a team here in the US. We actually have two teams. We have the forecasting team here in the US. We also have the purchasing team in Asia. We have another team that plans all the containers and shipments in Asia. And we also have another team here in the US that plans the transfers. Let me rewind a little bit. We have the hub and spoke system. So we ship mainly to the hubs, and then the hubs then ship to the spokes. So that the transfer team here in the US manages the hub and spoke transfers. What is enable us to do is give very clear visibility of the demand that is needed by location, by region, and even by country. We know exactly what inventory should be in which location, and it's based on historical and predictive data, not based on sales input or sales comments or based on somebody's gut intuition. Um, we have a saying: if you ask a sales guy, he can sell everything and anything four times over. But we have to validate that with data. We have to ensure that our money is well spent. So that's where TADA comes in, and it's that clear visibility of what products are needed in what location.
Yeah, excellent. Based on everything you've been through, the complexity, the gaps, building something that works operationally, what do you think most supply chain teams out there still underestimate about execution? What would you tell somebody that's earlier in the journey than you?
Don't underestimate technology. I would say that don't underestimate technology. There is so much of technology out there that it makes your journey easier and quicker. That we don't have to spend as much time as we did before with friction across departments. We don't have to spend that much time on understanding the root cause. we immediately know what the problem is, we know how to fix it. And that speed is usually underestimated in a lot of companies. And I think a lot of bigger companies, I mean, I'll name like Amazon, for example, they were able to solve that with technologies that they built probably that by themselves. And so that's a good example of technology being fully utilized to understand the different aspects of supply chain and remedy a problem very quickly.
As TWG grew, how important was it to improve inventory efficiency instead of simply carrying more inventory everywhere? And how did you measure that?
I mean, most important thing is cash flow and also putting cost pressure on the on our base here in the US, right? Just by buying more inventory, that would not be the right solution because that would not help our cash flow, nor would it help our other expenses here in the US. So having the right inventory, right place, at the right time was so critical in running any business for I feel. But running the aftermarket automotive business is even more important because that business intelligence is so hard to find. And that's where TADA comes in, having that, being able to put all that knowledge, all that tribal knowledge among the salespeople, among the business, into a software that helps you understand what needs to be in which location to help the sales the best way. So it is really storage of all this tribal knowledge and being able to crucially plan that inventory better.
Did TADA help the team support growth in a more controlled and predictable way
Yeah,
operationally? Obviously, without inventory expanding in the most traditional way.
definitely. The key was being able to show that historical data and being able to show that future forecasting in a format that is digestible. That was so critical because then you could actually have a very intelligent conversation with the sales teams, with a VP of sales to show, hey, this is your projection. This is what we are projecting. What are you guys seeing? And TADA helped us maneuver that conversations. Previously, a lot of it was Excel, a lot of it was, like I said, tribal knowledge. So having TADA being able to put that in a digestible format really helps that. That visual, being able to take so much raw data and transforming it into a very visual aspect for the sales team, that was so important. And it ironed out a lot of problems very quickly.
Can you mention what changed operationally once the system was in place, especially around inventory positioning and in-stock performance or service levels?
Our inventory health went from about a 50% range to right now a high of about 85, 86% range. So we have the right inventory, right place, at the right time. We also were able to cut our overstocks. So our procurement planning was so much better. Our overstocks in the warehouses, even at the factories, was just so much more accurate. The most important thing that I've seen, or I wouldn't say the most important, but the most visually that I can see is the pressure on the factories. Previously, we were just estimating, we were not sure what to buy. So it put a lot of pressure on the factories to make a lot of products and then store it for us. The last visit that I went to Asia, I think it was about 4 months ago. The vendor said we have zero inventory on the floors. So everything that we buy, we need it and we take it immediately.
That's great. So it changed the speed and the consistency of decision making across the organization as well.
And it most probably changed the narrative with the factories saying TWG now is a professional company. They're going to measure twice, place the PO once, and once they place it, they're going to take it. So the vendors were very supportive of any POs that we place, any systems that we put in place, because they knew that we are standing behind our word whenever we place a PO.
I love it. Well, Naveen, this has been a great conversation, practical and honest and real world. I think everyone listening is going to have a real recognition with the problems and the ways you solve them. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Karan.
Hey, appreciate you.
All right, thanks. Have a
Bye.
good one. Bye.
Bye.